So I watched Gilmore Girls A Year in the Life, and now I have to tell the internet my feelings because, yeah, that's what I do. Warning, this is going to be full of spoilers, and it's also going to be probably turning into a rant, so just as a heads up. So I did watch them. I watched the marathon on the Channel Up through when it ended to the premiere of the Netflix series, or Netflix movie, I guess. And so that was good that I did that to watch it, to have a preemptive whatever. Being 10 years later in the A Year in the Life, some of it just didn't make sense to me. And it's really funny because some of the characters looked older and some of them didn't look like any older than the last episode that I saw them in. So that was kind of special. The very first one, I believe it started with winter. I could be wrong. I wasn't really paying attention to which is which, so I'm going to see if I can go in order. The note of Rory's boyfriend, Paul. Who's Paul? Well, us as the audience is just as confused as Lorelai and Luke, which is hilarious because they have no idea what's going on, we have no idea what's going on, and Rory keeps forgetting about him. How do you forget about your boyfriend? I don't get it. I guess I get it because they're trying to make a point that she's so busy with her life and her affair that she can't actually talk to her boyfriend. But the fact that he's so easily forgettable just kind of makes me laugh. There is a reference, I believe either Luke or Lorelai says it, that it's how is it that we saw him and we don't remember ever having a conversation with him prior to that, but yeah, his memory is great. Makes you think of Doctor Who and the silence. That's exactly what that is. It's you know them, you see them, here he is, and then he's gone, and you're like, what just happened? Who did I just talk to? What's his name? So that was kind of funny. I got kind of amused by that. And also laying on the Doctor Who, completely with this entire episode, I was very confused. Very confused. I had a discussion with my friend that it basically came down to with most pilots of TV shows and such, that you're well it's just the first one, so let me try the second one to see if it's any better. Well, I don't know that the feeling got any better, but I did kind of roll with it and I did watch all of them. But so jumping back though, with Rory going to London all the time, where she gets this money for this is beyond me. Maybe she is getting funded by Logan, her lovely affair person that is happening. That she goes to meet Naomi, who she's going to write a book about, and oh my god, it's River Song, or Alex Kingston. You see how I did that? So that was awesome. I was like, oh hey, it's her. Gotta love these cameos. I get it, you want to try to get the interest and get the point across and make it more modern, but these cameos are just not, some of them aren't necessary. Lorelai is trying to replace Suki, and some other people come, and Rachel Ray freaking appears. What is this? I get it, I totally get it, but no, just no. So let's see what else. Trying to think here. My mind is completely not blanking out, but in sorts of order. That's no longer a thing. So jumping, I believe, to the last one, which is spring, summer, spring, fall. I don't know. Whichever the last one is. I know my seasons, I promise. Where Logan, Finn, and all of their friends take Rory away from the town and go somewhere else, go to different state altogether. As that kind of progressed, I swear that was like a dream. I didn't think that was him trying to show that he actually cares for Rory and he's got to make the trip and all this stuff, and she's just going with it. She's okay, even though her and Lane just totally bashed him on the phone saying, hey, you're a drug and she's trying to kick you, what is this? And then this happens. That's not okay. You don't need random dancing in the middle of these shows, in the middle of these movies. You don't. It doesn't, I know you need to fill the space with stuff, but I really didn't think that was necessary. I was pretty convinced that that was a dream, that that wasn't a thing. And then as it progressed, and she's like, oh, you got to go back to your fiance, and you're gonna be leaving, and all this stuff, and it's like, really, really, really. Oh, speaking of loose ends, I guess, in a sense. Okay, so I was under the impression that everything would be all tied up. Everything. Everything would be tied. Everything would be happy, like happily ever after kind of ties. Well, I'm pretty sure no one got a happy ending except Lorelai, Luke, and probably Emily. Luke and Lorelai could be married and have this whole shindig that is like Luke's brilliant plan, but he lets Kirk kind of do it, and that's really bizarre in itself. And then they get married, and then that's pretty much the end. But then they show Emily, and I thought they were gonna show like the actual wedding, because they have two weddings. They have one with like, oh, let's elope overnight, and then have one with everybody else. That would have been a nice way to go, because that's how the series typically ended, right? They got married, or they didn't get married. No, it was the graduation party thing that they were doing. So it was a party. It's just mind blown. Mind blown in the most obnoxious sense, basically. So yeah, Emily is trying to, sort out her life, and she finally realizes, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm very surprised that she has help who doesn't speak English, and that she has the patience to deal with that. So clearly, there's that, but she does end up working it out, and all four of these movie episode things, it kind of works itself out. It works. It totally works. But it's weird. It's very unlike Emily. Like, you see maids come and go, and yes, she was kind of brought this person like in there, and she's like, well, I don't understand her, but she cooks really good food, and she does eventually get it, and you're kind of to communicate with her, and it's just, I don't know, it just seems very unlike Emily. And yes, she is grieving, and yes, she has changed, but that still doesn't explain the fact that she's gone through a bajillion maids and a bajillion like housekeepers and whatnot, and now all of a sudden she's like, well, you don't speak English, and I can work with this, and I want you to live with me, and all this stuff. Like, I don't get it. And of course, those last 4 words, which actually aren't 4 words, there's 3 words. Mom, I'm pregnant, are 3 words, not 4 words. And if you say, Mom, I am pregnant, that just sounds really stupid. But whatever. That's a cliffhanger, by the way. Hey, that's not a way to end a series. Mom, I'm pregnant. No. That is not a way to end the series. And yes, it is probably Logan's. And no, it's not the Wookiee guys, which is hilarious, by the way, that she's like, I had a one-night stand and I'm 32 years old and blah, blah, blah. Like that was pretty hilarious that she had that kind of meltdown. But it's just, I'm always going to be Team Jess. Always. The fact that he showed up, and the fact that he's like, hey, you should write this book, and then, she runs out of the house as Jess leaves while talking to Luke. It's like, hey, I wrote it. Look, I wrote it. And then she runs out is very just kind of random. Like, I understand you want to catch him before he leaves and whatnot, but the fact that something happens and then they show up and then she leaves again, it's just, I don't know, from a filmmaker's perspective, no, I can't do any better, by the way. I just think it just wasn't all there. Like, I don't know how you would have made that better. Like, maybe if they, because you obviously know Jess is not over Rory. You know that. You knew that from the get-go. And, this shows up and they're like, oh, are you, over her? And he's like, I am. I totally am. Don't you worry. I totally am. And then he's like fawning over her in a window while she's taking care of Kurt. Like, it's just, Team Jess. Let's see, what else? There were so many things. It was very lengthy, I admit. Yes, it was not typical episodes, so it's not like 45 minutes, 47 minutes. It was like an hour and a half, and then it was an hour, and then it was, whatever. But then it was like 2 hours, and oh my goodness, I don't have the attention span for that. I'm actually very surprised I sat through three of the four of them in one sitting. Anyway. That's not how you end a series. It's not. It's really not. I mean, sure, okay. Oh, Oh, speaking of ways to end a series, I am so glad they did not actually end the series on the note of, hey, I wrote this book, hey, it's about us, hey, look, it's going to be published, and oh look, da 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 da. I'm so glad they didn't do that. I'm kind of glad it went from one to the other, but I think it was just such a stupid ending. Hashtag what a stupid ending. Like that, I had tweeted about it, and I was like, you know, what is going on? And then I watched it all, and then it became what a stupid ending. That's the hashtag. What a stupid ending. I'm going to put that in the title. Warning spoilers. What a stupid ending. There you go. See? Rant. Turning into a rant. Told you. Okay. So, stepping aside, though, it is kind of nice that they did end up doing this as they did it, and, you know, it's, I don't know, mixed feelings. I've seen, I did enjoy, I am a Gilmore's fan, however, not happy with the ending. Everybody's like, you can't end it on a cliffhanger. Well, not everybody, but what I've seen, people I've talked to, you can't end it on a cliffhanger. Oh, they have to have another thing. No, they wrapped it up so they can no longer do anything else with this. The only way they can do something with this is if they did like a mini-series or another show or whatever. I don't even know what they would call it. Well, they did bring back Boy Meets World and made it Girl Meets World, so I guess that's, you know, you can always do something like that, where Rory is like older, and then she has her kid, and then their struggles. Like, what would you call that? Gilmore Girls 2? Like, I don't even know what you would call that, because it's always going to be the Gilmore Girls. So I don't know. So, enough of that. I just need to tell the internet my feelings. Hashtag what a stupid ending. And there you go. Hopefully you got something amusing out of this, rather than me just ranting and all this stuff. So,